What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey, Xavier here. We are at Thomann Gearhead University in Germany. I'm with Nita Strauss of the Alice Cooper Band, Starbreakers, We Start Wars, and I have just heard that you are working on a solo album.
That's right.
Tell me all about that.
So we did the Kickstarter for my solo record. I decided to do a Kickstarter rather than a label because I wanted to have full control of this album. You know, I've spent my whole career, 16 years, doing stuff the way other people want it done, you know, playing Alice Cooper songs or Iron Maiden songs or whatever it is I'm working on. So just this once, I wanted to have full and total control over the project and not ask, you know, I have to get approval on the album art and everything else. And so we did the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter really kind of showed that people cared. You know, It made a real statement. You know, we asked for a really modest goal, and we met that 30-day goal in 2 hours. Which is like, I thought we were going to hit it. I did really think we were going to hit it. I didn't think we were going to hit it the first day.
Yeah.
And much less the first few hours. So it was,
it's out of control.
It was great to see that people care. You know, it was amazing to see that in 2018 people care enough to put their hard-earned money where their mouth is and really support. So it was amazing. The recording's going great. We're just taking a break from the studio now to be here in Germany and then go back in, finish the record, and then hopefully we'll start the first leg of the solo tour in November of this year.
What's the process like for writing these songs? How do you go about it?
So I've actually been writing the songs for the record for like a couple years.
Okay.
The first song, Pandemonium, that we released last year via Steve Vai's label, Favorite Nations, is actually going to be, you know, that's like the blueprint for the record. It's going to sound similar to that. Everyone goes, are you going to sing? Is it going to do this? No, it's like what I already did. It's like, you know.
More of that.
The funny thing is, I've been writing this record on tour, you know, wherever I'm at, whatever I'm doing, whether it's clinics or whether it's being out with Alice or if I'm at home. So now that I'm actually in my studio at home doing the real recording, I've got songs in every different tuning and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what did I do this for? My guitar is a floating bridge. Like, why did I write songs? So, like, you know.
Well, hey, if it's instrumental, right, you could just transpose it all.
No, you know, but I don't want it all to sound the same. So I did get a fixed bridge from Ibanez to, you know, do those rhythms with. But it's literally like E flat, D, drop C. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. So on tour, I'm gonna have to transpose some stuff, so I'm not bringing too many guitars.
Yep.
For sure. But it's been really it's been educational for me as a player writing this record because it's like writing a really long guitar solo. You know, like instead of being just like 4 bars or 8 bars, all of a sudden it's a whole song of guitar solo. So it's really challenging to come up with different stuff and not repeat your go-to licks because you can only play the same licks so many times.
Right. And
so it's been good. It's been a good challenge.
When you hit the road, you're gonna have a whole band.
Yeah,
it's gonna be do you have your whole lineup set yet, or are you working on it?
No, not yet. I know my boyfriend Josh is gonna be playing the drums. Because he plays on all my solo stuff. You know, he played on Pandemonium. He'll play on the record, and I'm not being biased because I do love him very much. But I wouldn't take somebody that I loved on the road if they weren't the best drummer for the job, and he really, honestly is. And I'm not just saying that because he's sitting 5 feet away. He really, you have to get the right person for the job, and having somebody that knows me that well and understands what my vision is and is able to add to it and not just drum machine it is really important. So it's really great. I imagine that you'll also be playing your brand new signature guitar from Ibanez, the JIVA10. Definitely, yes.
Tell us a little bit about what went into this, making it happen.
The whole concept, that we developed behind the Jiva is, if your guitar is anything like my guitar, it has a life of its own. It has ideas of its own, and sometimes it does what it wants to, and not just what you tell it to. Right. So the Jiva is the Hindu word for basically what continues on after your body's gone, what lives on. It's your soul or your life force or, the force, whatever you want to call it. And it's where your creativity comes from, it's where your expression comes from, and hopefully the music that I make and that other people make with this guitar will live forever. So you can see it has its own heartbeat. It has, and the EQG spikes do correspond with the frets, so it's pretty easy to find your way and navigate on this guitar. It's not just like a tree of life where it's like, where is the E?
Yeah, I have a guitar that I like a lot, but it's got a big fat fancy inlay right at the 12th fret that So you'd think that, oh, that's great, but it like spreads across a couple frets.
Sure.
So every time I get up there, I'm like, ugh.
Where is it?
So this makes it very clear, and I like that it goes so far across. Yeah. Every fret that it happens on.
It's easy to see from any angle. Yeah. I mean, I have the same thing. I have a company called Neck Illusions that they make these fretboard stickers that they're really amazing. And I have a guitar that says Hurricane on the fretboard, and the first time I played it, it was just so off-putting, like a little unsettling. And now, you know, after the first time, it was fine. But just like the first time, I was like, wait, what? Where was that? Okay, focus a little more. But in case that is a little confusing, it does also have the lumen lays on the side, which make it very easy to navigate this guitar on a dark stage. That's something that with Alice, we start a lot of songs in pitch black. So you can't, you know, unless you have some kind of way to navigate the fretboard in the dark, it would be really confusing. And, you know, even club gigs or whatever, sometimes that stage is dark. It's hard to see where you're at. So the lumen lays, you just charge up with an LED. You can do it with your phone. It's much better and faster to do it with a flashlight, but you can do it with your phone. And you just run it over it real quick, and then you have a little roadmap in the dark, which I love. The pickups are my DiMarzio signature Pandemonium pickups. I think we went through 2 revisions of the guitar, and we went through 8 of the pickups. Like, it took a long time to get them right. But, so I was on tour when we were designing these, and I had all my different guitars out there. I had, you know, a guitar with Evolutions, a guitar with Gravity Storms, a guitar with Deactivator. I had a Tone Zone and a Norton. I had a guitar with an Ibanez Hot Grinder. Like, all these different pickups that I love. And so I'd play this one, and I'd play the one I like, and I'd go, okay, I want a little more of this, a little less of that, rather than trying to go, I need a little bit more of the 2K and the blah, blah, blah. I go, you know how the Hot Grinder does that thing? And luckily, you know, Larry DiMarzio and Steve Blucher and Art Corpus over there, they knew what my gibberish meant. You know the thing where it goes wee? Like, I like that thing. This thing doesn't go, it goes woo more than wee. And it's just, yeah.
Well, it's funny because, like, have you ever heard Paul Gilbert talk about pickups?
I have a little bit.
It's great. It's so great. He's like, you know, someone kind of go, huh? And then, huh? Huh?
Yes.
Like, he makes the like, the mid-range noise with his mouth, you know, like a cocked wah sound.
Totally.
It's kind of like that. And then you just kind of move it around, and like that's
but
that's like 80% of the sound where the mid range sits.
Where it sits, exactly.
You know, because the guitar is so mid range heavy.
Yeah.
But
it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah.
And luckily, like you know, this is my first time designing any kind of sound like that. So I was like, gosh, I hope they understand what I mean when I say I need it to sing a little more. Like, does that make sense? And they said, absolutely, I know what you mean. Like, they, at this point, after making the Evo and the Titan and all these, you know, massive sounding pickups, they know what it means when someone says it needs to have a more vocal quality, you know. So they did really well with that. And you are able to split them with the 5-way. It has a true velvet in the middle. We talked about doing a full signature set and doing a signature single coil, but I really just said if I did design my perfect single coil, it would be a true velvet. So why try to pull the wool over people's eyes and put my name on something? I said I wouldn't change anything about it, so just drop a true velvet in.
There you go.
I think it's the perfect pickup.
Are these available now as a set?
They are, yeah. They're in stores as a set to buy separately, which is so cool. Like, you know, I've seen people putting them in their own guitars now for the first time, and I had never seen them outside of my guitar. Right. So it was like someone put them in, I think it was, not the Jake Bowen, can't remember, the Axe Palace dropped them in one of the Paul Wagner maybe, and it looked so sick with that gray guitar with the gray body, and then someone else put them in a blue S series, and the cream bobbins and the black with the blue. It just looked so cool. So it's great to see that people are using them and enjoying them for themselves.
What kind of bridge do you have on there?
It's the Edge 02. I was very snobby about it, and I initially said, and this is kind of my fault because I was going by what I saw on mine, and you know, and most of my guitars are, you know, the super prestige line. They all have the ZR bridge because that was the one I liked. And when we started designing this, I said, so this, ebony neck, mahogany body, quilted maple top, ZR bridge, and the Ibanez guys came back and said yes, 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 and sorry, no. They're phasing out the ZR. Oh no. So yeah, I know. I think it's the best bridge that they had made up to that point. And so I said, what about low pro? And for me, I need a collared bridge. I need a collared whammy bar because of all the crazy tricks, you know, holding it by the bar and stuff. You try that with a low pro, you're gonna have a bad time.
It's gonna pop right out.
Yeah, as soon as you hold it up by that bar, it's gonna pop out, and then you look very silly.
Yeah.
So they said the only bridge that they're still using in production is the Edge 02. I said, well, look, make mine with it, and let me see if I like it. And if I don't like it, then we're gonna have to do something else. But I said, make mine in the Indonesian factory where they're making the production ones. Make it with this bridge, and let me see. And they brought it to me, and I loved it. I have no problems with the bridge. It stays in tune. It flutters like,
That's
amazing.
the only thing that I care about when I get a bridge. Does it flutter? If not,
I mean, it flutters forever.
It's not worth my time.
It's still going
great.
now. So that's the other thing with these pickups, with the mahogany. Like, it's a light guitar. It's 7 pounds, but with the richness of the mahogany and with those pickups, it has crazy good sustain. And it doesn't, for the way you can throw it around and how light it is and easy to play, it doesn't feel like, a $1,500 7-pound guitar. Yeah. For sure.
Why did you choose the S kind of body? Is that just what you played most? Is that what you're comfortable with? Or
I mean, I've played kind of everything. The main thing for me about the S is the balance. So when you hold this guitar at the neck joint, you don't even have to hold on to it. The neck and the neck and the body are just so perfectly balanced that it just stays right where you put it on stage. If you throw the guitar around a lot, if you're playing, you're active, you're moving, you need a guitar that will stay where you put it.
Right.
And so the S series for me is that guitar.
When are these going to be available to the public?
I think they are coming to the U.S. in August. That's
Cool.
the last thing I heard.
Yeah.
We unveiled it at NAMM. Just I know they hadn't even gone into production. I think I just got the first one maybe 2 weeks before NAMM. Might even be less. I think it was like a week before NAMM. I know we did the photo shoot like that same week, and Ibanez didn't even put it up on their site because they hadn't done the product photos yet. So it was like this mystery thing, and the order sheet, like the sales sheet, had this like digital mock-up of it that looked so ugly.
Oh no!
It's so ugly. No one would buy it from that, and I was like, you guys, like, please. It looks like, almost looks like tweed or something.
Oh no!
You don't see a black to natural maple burst very often.
Right.
And so most people don't know what it looks like in person. And to see it sort of like black to bleh burst, I was like, please, why? So it was definitely an experience, being there and not having it available.
Yeah. I'm just glad that you went with a matching headstock.
Yes.
That's one of those things where I see, like, I mean, a lot of brands do it, but, like, especially, like, some of my favorite Ibanez guitars, for some reason have the black headstock.
It drives me nuts.
And it drives me crazy.
The first rendering had a black headstock, and that's, like, a huge pet peeve of mine, too. And I was like, no. Like, it has to. And what a difference. I mean, if I can get it to stay in the light, what a huge difference that makes. Because it just, and there's a lot of little Easter eggs like that you don't notice on, like, at the very first time you look at it. The triple binding is another thing that just adds that little detail, but you don't immediately go, oh, guitar with binding. You know, like, the Purple Heart in the neck is another one, which is cool. And how it carries all the way through to the top of the headstock, which I really, really like. Yeah. And yeah, it's just overall, it's a workhorse of a guitar. You can do a lot with it. You can put it through a lot. It's great for rock and metal. It's also great. We just had someone in this very room playing surf on it, like, you know, using that. What is it? The Vibe, Fender Vibe, Vibrolux. Yeah, you can tell I don't do a lot of Fender Vibrolux playing. But yeah, he goes, let me try something completely off the wall with it, and played a bunch of, you know. And it sounded great, you know, like especially with the way you can split the humbuckers and stuff. You can do a lot with it.
Sweet.
You can do a lot of different stuff. And then I'll just jump over to the clean mode.
I like it. I'm gonna try and get Ibanez to send me one over for a proper review.
There you go.
But it did everything I wanted it to, except make me better at playing guitar. But you know, you can only do so much.
Well, if they don't do that, let me know and I'll bring mine by.
Oh, good.
Just leave it with you for a couple days. And
that sounds
it out.
awesome. Well, in the meantime, you guys be sure to pre-order the album, which is called
Controlled Chaos.
Okay, by Nita Strauss, which you can find at the website, which is
www.nitastrauss.com.
How are they supposed to remember that?
It's so difficult.
And there's a tour coming up in...
So I'll start with Alice in August.
Okay.
We're going to do 2 full tours of the U.S. and then we'll do the first leg of the Controlled Chaos World Tour. Just got the routing for it and that's going to start in November.
Sweet.
Very, very excited.
Oh yeah, and the guitar coming out probably pretty soon, and more. And thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming all the way to Germany just to talk to somebody who lives probably
15 minutes away.
10 minutes away from you.
Exactly.
You know, what are you going to do?
We don't have this nice room full of amps.
No, we don't.
Over there.
Maybe someday. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, mash that subscribe button for more reviews and original content. And I'll see you real soon. Peace.